Hey, welcome. Today, we're going to dig into a really fascinating economic puzzle, and we're going to look at it from an investor's point of view. It's a case study about a strange, kind of counterintuitive idea, how the promise of something free can sometimes mean you end up with nothing at all. So let's start with a question that sounds like a riddle, right? Why can't a suitcase of cash buy a free loaf of bread? I mean, think about it. If you have all the money in the world and something is being offered for free, getting it should be the easiest thing ever. But as we're about to see, the answer to this one question gets to the heart of one of the most powerful truths in all of economics. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with our billionaires at the bakery. Then we'll decode what's really going on with something called the price signal. We'll figure out why that baker took off, see how this whole thing plays out in the real world, and then wrap it all up with the single most important takeaway for any smart investor. So I want you to picture this scene. You've got a line of billionaires, okay? And each one is holding a suitcase, just overflowing with cash. They're all standing in front of this bakery, but the shelves are completely bare. And there, on the window, is a sign that says, "Free bread today." It makes absolutely no sense, right? They have infinite money, but they cannot get a single loaf of bread.
And this is really the problem boiled down to its most basic and, frankly, absurd parts. You've got infinite demand from people who can literally afford anything. You've got infinite money to back it up. And yet, you have zero supply. This is the heart of the paradox. It's what an economic system looks like when it has completely and utterly broken down.
So, how on earth did we get here? Well, to solve this puzzle, we need to understand the market's invisible nervous system. For any analyst, this is probably the single most important data point that exists. It's called the price signal. You see, a price isn't just some number you have to pay. It is a dense packet of information. It's telling producers what we, the customers, want and how badly we want it. At the same time, it's telling us how rare or abundant something is. A high price screams, "Hey, make more of this," while a low price whispers, maybe slow down. It really is, quite literally, data wrapped in a dollar sign. And this just lays out the difference perfectly. On one side, you have a market that works. Price signals are clear, so resources go where they're needed most. Producers know exactly what to make, innovators have a reason to invent, and the whole system just flows. But on the other side, without those signals, you get total chaos. You get massive shortages or, just as bad, wasteful surpluses. Capital gets thrown at the wrong things, and eventually, the whole system just fails. Okay, so now we can take this idea and plug it right back into our bakery mystery. Why are the shelves empty? Where did the baker go? Well, it turns out his decision to just abandon his shop was perfectly logical. Let's just walk through the chain reaction here. Step 1, the free bread sign goes up. Seems nice, right? But what it actually does is, boom. Step 2, the price signal is instantly destroyed. There's no more information about value. And without a price, there's no money coming in, which leads to step 3, the profit incentive completely vanishes. And look, if you can't make money, why would you keep baking bread? So step 4, production grinds to a halt. And finally, step 5, the baker takes his capital, his skills, his time, his equipment, and moves it somewhere else. In our story, to a much nicer life on a yacht. And this is the absolute crucial point. Profit isn't just about greed. It's the engine. It's the fuel that powers production. It's the reward someone gets for taking a risk to create something that people actually want. So if you take away the possibility of profit, you take away the product itself. It really is that simple. Now, believe me, this isn't just some fun little thought experiment for an economics class. This exact pattern, this paradox of broken signals, it plays out in the real world all the time. And often, the consequences are incredibly serious. I mean, you can see it all through history. You had Soviet planners who set bread prices artificially low, which completely destroyed the price signal and led to those infamous bread lines. We saw it again with devastating food shortages in Venezuela because of strict price controls. And even more recently, things like the baby formula crisis in the US or the global microchip shortage. These are complex issues for sure, but at their core is a market where the signals got distorted or broken. The pattern is always the same. When the signal breaks, the supply chain breaks right along with it. All right, let's bring this all home. We get the theory, we've seen the real-world examples. As an investor, as an analyst, your main job is to put capital where it can grow. So what's the big lesson here? How do we turn all this into an actual, actionable investment thesis? Okay, from an investment banker's point of view, this table, this is everything. It's your playbook. It's your cheat sheet. Think of it like a traffic light. When you see a free market with clear, accurate price signals, that's a green light. You invest capital and you expect profit and growth. When you see a market with price controls, the signal is getting distorted. That's yellow light. You proceed with extreme caution because the risk of things going sideways is high. And when you see a market for free goods, where that price signal is completely gone, that is a flashing red light. You divest, you get your capital out, because systemic collapse isn't just a risk, it's the most likely outcome. And it all comes down to this one simple, unwritten law. This is the fundamental principle that explains our entire paradox. Capital isn't sentimental. It doesn't have feelings. It's a tool, and it will always, always go to the environment where it can be most effective, where it can generate a return. You remove the incentive for that return, and the capital just leaves. It flees. So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. We've seen today how a simple price tag is so much more than just a cost. It is a vital, critical signal that helps organize huge parts of our economy. The question we all have to keep asking ourselves is, in an increasingly complex world, what happens when we start to lose our ability to read that signal? What happens when the message gets lost in the noise?